Hey folks, this is Matt Rao of Video Masters TV, and I'm here with Chuck Van Pelt of RecycledGamer, and we are here at an undisclosed location in Vancouver, Washington, at Rick Weis's house. Chuck?
Thanks, Matt. Rick Weis is one of the organizers of the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, which happens here in Portland on September 20th. And he invited us to come out to his house today to check out his awesome game room. Should we check it out?
Let's go.
All right.
Hello, I'm Matt Rao from Video Masters. You must be Rick.
Yes, I am.
Hi, how you doing?
Pretty good. Would you want to come on in?
I'd love to come in, thank you.
Come on.
So this is the collection. Look at this. This is amazing.
Where's the power glove? I need the power glove.
That's awesome. So Rick, thanks for inviting us into your house and your game room here. It's really impressive. I like at a loss for words almost. How long have you been collecting this stuff?
Over 30 years now.
30 years. That is late 70s maybe?
It was actually started in about July or January of 1978.
Wow. And have you ever stopped collecting in that time, in those 30 years? Have you dropped off and come back to it?
There was a couple of years I did leave off for about a year and here and there, but always came back to it.
What types of systems and games do you collect here?
Mostly Atari 2600. I do have a few other systems I collect for, but not as hardcore as Atari 2600.
I see. Yeah, I see a lot of Atari logos. I have seen a few other logos, like some Nintendo and an Xbox 360 behind me. Rick, how many games would you say you have in this vast collection here?
For Atari 2600, it's probably about 1,500 total, counting all the other systems. I would say close to 2,000.
2,000 games. Wow, that's amazing. What is, and this is a hard question, what is your favorite item in this room?
Probably the Atari 2600 kiosk. That's where you would find where they would sell Atari and games out of in like a Kmart or a Toys R Us back in the day.
Wow, you've got one of those?
Actually, I have two of those.
Two? Oh my gosh, we've got to go look at these things. Rick, I'm going to ask Chuck to come in here because he's got some questions for you too.
Oh, great.
All right, I'll be back.
Hi, Rick. I had a chance to look around your game room here, and it's really amazing. And I was wondering, what is the rarest video game item that you have in the room here?
Probably the Game Brain. It works kind of like a supercharger, but instead of just playing the games, you could actually record it onto cassette tapes.
Is that for the Atari 2600 system?
That's correct.
Oh, that's amazing. Do you mind if we just take a look around your room a little bit?
Oh, sure.
All right, let's do it. Matt, come over and check this out. I want to show you something here. Rick has a Nintendo World Championships gray cart here. Now, what this is Nintendo had World Championships in the early 90s, and people could come out, really good players, and they could compete with one another. And if you were in the competition, you could take home one of these customized World Championship carts. If you were a winner, they also had these gold carts that were available that were rarer. I think there were maybe 20 or 30 of the gold carts made and maybe 100 or 2 of this gray cart. It's very rare. The gold cart, one of them sold recently for about $17,000. Rick I don't think he paid that much for this gray version, but it is something that I've seen appreciate greatly in the video game marketplace. So don't let your mom tell you that video games aren't a good investment. So Rick, I understand you're one of the organizers of the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. Could you tell me a little bit about how that got started?
Well, it got started back in 1997, and that was mostly in Seattle. And about 4 years ago, I moved it to Portland, and that's where it's got a lot more vendors coming in.
Oh, okay. So where is the expo held this year?
It was the last couple of years. It was at the near PDX, but we moved it to the Portland Crown Plaza.
Oh, so that's down by the convention center, isn't it?
Correct.
Oh, okay. How could someone find out more about the Retro Game Expo?
Just go to our website at retrogamingexpo.com.
Okay, Rick, we're here at the Atari Video Games Kiosk, which you were mentioning a second ago, or a minute ago, depending on editing. And tell me a little bit about this ginormous thing here.
Well, basically, this is what you would see in the old stores back in the old days, and where they would sell games, and you could buy the system. All the games would be down here, just like I have mine stored.
How many games fit in one of these kiosk shelves here?
I probably have about 400 in there.
Wow. What year did they start using this in the stores?
I think that came out in probably 78, 79, somewhere around there.
Okay. And was there a person in the store? Do you know much about the history of these things? Were people actually standing there waiting for customers to come up and ask them questions about it, or?
I myself never saw one in the store, but I heard a lot of other people that have known that's seen them in stores back in the days.
I see. Can you tell me a little bit about it? I see there's joystick controllers, a paddle, and there's buttons, and then actually the VCS itself is sitting here, and then there's a monitor behind it. Can you tell me about the various functions here?
Sure. Actually, this is just a dummy system. You can't use this, but there's a PCB board with 38 games on it. So kids could come up and just play any certain game and kind of test games out and see what they like. And what you do is just push the button here, and you could, and I even have a list here of what games you could pick. 21 would be Othello, and there you go. And you could be able to play it if you wanted to test it out.
Rick, we're here at your second Atari kiosk. Most collectors are fortunate if they have one. And I've noticed you have a game here. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's called Chunk Out 2600. It was developed by James Todd, and he's going to be at our show. We're going to have 100 games that we're going to have for sale at our show. They will be numbered, and probably 30 of them will be boxed, and the rest will be loose.
So this is a brand new game written recently. It's a homebrew game.
Correct.
And this is, so you're saying it's only available first time for sale at the Portland Retro Game Expo.
That is correct.
And how many copies?
100, and they will be numbered.
All right, folks, you heard it here. Get your copy of Chunk Out 2600.
Okay, so Rick, I've noticed you have a Sega Genesis cabinet, a locking cabinet no less, sitting here full of love. Tell me a little bit about this thing.
Well, I got this about 2 years ago, and I got it at a Goodwill store in Longview, Washington. They've had this in their store for, years and years and years. I remember always going into the store, and this is where they always kept their video game stuff. Reason why I never really didn't notice it, because they had a big red board that covered this whole area. So all it was to me, it was just a glass case. I didn't really notice what it was. One day I walked in, and there was a chunk missing out of that board showing the SIS, and I noticed the way the S's was a Genesis S.
Wow.
So I started looking through it and poking, and I noticed that it was a Sega dealer display. So I started really going after the manager, trying to get him to sell it to me. Mm-hmm. It took him 6 months, but I finally persuaded him to sell it to me.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing that you could pick that out from just the SIS there. That's a gamer eye.
Well, the S is pretty
unique.
Pretty unique, yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for that story. Chuck and I would like to thank you again for inviting us into your house, into your game room. It's spectacular. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Chuck, do you have any more questions for Rick?
Not really. I just want to thank you for letting us come in and have a look at this fantastic collection. Truly one in a million here. Brought me back to my childhood, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I'm going to get back to my the kiosk over here and finish adventure.
Awesome.